And welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be discussing the continuation of all the end of 10 video series that I kind of started, and this is going to be video number 3 in the whole sequence. And today we're going to be talking about, for those of you who don't want to deal with extended updates and applying to beta programs for security updates, and just want to not worry about the hassle and just move on to the next iteration of the operating system, how would you install Windows 11? Well, for supported machines, it's pretty obvious and straightforward. You just download the ISO, you slap it onto a USB stick, whether it's through Rufus or Ventoy. You boot from it, and you're off to the races. You just do a normal Windows install or a normal Windows upgrade if your machine is eligible, and then that's that. But what if your machine is not eligible or does not meet the minimum requirements for Windows 10? So, like for example, you don't have TPM 2.0, or you don't have a one of the necessary minimum requirements of you. So, like something older than 8th generation. What would you do after that? Well, it's a pretty it's a both straightforward and kind of like a turnaround, or sorry, a walk around on how to get this sorted out. And we're gonna walk through it together. So I have, actually, this is not it, but let's see. Just a sec. Oh no, it didn't finish downloading. Okay, so I gotta finish it, and then we're gonna talk about it. Well, let's talk about it. Currently, what you guys see are two versions of Windows. Windows 11 Consumer and Windows 11 Enterprise. We're gonna put Windows 11 Enterprise to the side just for now, and let's talk about Consumer. The Consumer is the one that has all of the preemptive checks, the one that makes sure that you have a compatible system before you start installing it. And it has a bunch of protections and everything. So I was a little curious whether or not, realistically speaking, you could do a little bit of modification on it, and whether or not what Rufus was doing was kind of legal, illegal, or just over the line. So I fed the Microsoft end user license agreement into here, and just generally speaking, I asked it a question like, is modifying the Windows 11 ISO with Rufus to make it run on non-compatible PCs legal? And this is kind of what it came out with. So generally speaking, even Microsoft is the one that, Microsoft themselves have walkarounds on how you can make the Windows 11 ISO run on compatible PCs, and that's according to ChatGPT. Um, Basically, what Rufus does is it only gets rid of the check that makes sure that whether or not your PC is compatible, and then as long as you do it for yourself without um, distributing it for gain, you are good to go. So I am personally very happy with that, but I also have to go and verify it. This is what I came across on the Microsoft forums. As you can see, it's coming from the support.microsoft.com forums, and it basically comes down to one thing, that it is not recommended. However, it is possible. Oh, sorry. Hold on. You can do this. There you go. It is not recommended, but it is possible. However, Microsoft itself will not take responsibility for anything that happens when Windows 11 is installed a unsupported system. So, by the way, I will link this down in the description, so, or in like a pinned comment, so you guys have reference to all of this information. So, with that being said, I went and let's go and download Rufus. I think I have it. I just don't remember where. Rufus 4.9. There we go. All right, so we have a copy of Rufus, and let's go ahead and put a USB in here. There's a USB in here. I'm gonna run it as administrator. So by the way, The Windows 11 Consumer ISO you guys can download with the media creation tool that you can find on Microsoft's website. And we're just gonna run through this real quick, and then we're gonna talk about the same. So Windows 11 Consumer, all you gotta do is just drag it over here. Make sure that the partition scheme is set to GPT, the target system is UEFI, and then everything else is pretty much set to defaults. Click on start. And this is where the interesting part comes along. So only the first two options are what's important. So make sure those two are checked off, or sorry, enabled. Click on OK and let the utility do its run its course. So once this is done, we're gonna come back to it. Okay, small addendum over here. If you end up having issues with Rufus 4.9 saying that access is denied, give Rufus 4.8 a try. You can get it from the official download page, rufus.io/downloads. And as soon as this is done, we're going to continue this. And now that the installation over the USB has been, or the deployment on USB has been completed, we are ready to move on to installation on an unsupported PC. Right? Give me just a sec. It'll take just a second for me to get ready. Okay. Um, okay. So it's yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna perform a clean install just so that you guys can make sure that it's not right up with my keyboard and my mouse are on. Sorry about that. So this is the same computer that we used in the previous video that we installed Windows 10 and then we enabled ESU. So let's go ahead, log into, or sorry, go into the BIOS and secure erase the hard drive. That way, I want to close it. Ignores. Getting ready for stuff is usually long. It takes longer than just doing the actual project. So I do apologize about that. There we go. Again. Okay, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna show you guys that TPM is still the same or still hidden. So, and then we're gonna proceed to Windows 11 installation. Okay. That boot menu. Right, let's hit it real quick with Shift F10 and this part. Select zero clean. Perfect. We're gonna install Windows 11. We're gonna redo everything. Real quick. Yes, it's 128 gig. And I think it's gonna ask us what version we want to install. So we're just gonna go with Windows 11 Pro. If okay, never mind. So just one version of Windows 11. So we're gonna let that install, and once the system is booted into the operating system, or sorry, once the computer is booted into Windows 11, we're gonna continue. All right, installer is booting into the system right now. So let's finish this software real quick, the setup real quick. You're gonna choose Canadian bilingual, skip any additional languages. We don't want to worry about internet. HP stop HP 100. Ask 123 exclamation point. 3 exclamation point. ABD 124. ABD 124. For security questions. And as soon as the computer boots into the operating system, I'm going to show you guys that technically speaking, the computer is still quote unquote not compatible, but Windows 11 is running and it's installed. Well, I mean, you guys can see that it's running and it's installed, but you can't see that the system is not compatible just yet. As soon as it boots in, we're going to do that verification. Okay, and there it is. This is Windows 11. So how would you actually verify whether or not your computer is compatible once you're inside the operating system? Well, there's two ways. First way is if you go into Windows Defender, or sorry, Windows Security, like that. We're gonna go under Device Security, and over here it needs to be Security Processor Details. There it is, right here. So under security processor details, this should be populated stating version 1.1, 1.2, 1.0, 2.0, whatever. But as you can see, mine isn't populating with anything. So this is kind of a confirmation that I'm not running Windows 11 on a supported machine. And the second way to do it, man, if I could remember, it is MSC, I believe it was. Yes, it is. So over here, this should be populating with the details of your TPM, but as you can see, compatible TPM cannot be found. Therefore, just confirming again that TPM is successfully disabled or sorry, hidden from the operating system, and Windows 11 is in fact working on a non-compatible system. But out of the factory, this is a compatible system. I just emulated the lack of compatibility. So that being said, again, do keep in mind that if you are running Windows 11, the consumer edition anyways, on a non-compatible system, Microsoft just warns that they're not going to be responsible for anything bad that happens to the system. That is the cost. So now that we have done the fun part, let's go back and do it again. And we're going to do it with the second ISO that I spoke. So the second ISO that I was talking to you guys, or sorry, that I showed you guys, is the corporate version of Windows 11. There we go. So let's go ahead and do that. So Windows 11 Enterprise. for those who are a little bit more familiar, you can. This is also called the long-term support channel. One, I had a friend of mine reach out to me and he gave me a link. Sadly, I cannot share it, but if you Google Foo a little bit, you could probably find it yourself. And the only reason why I can share it is not that I don't want to; it's I don't want to get my channel protected. Now that I'm still able to potentially getting a little bit of remuneration for all of this. So I will try to I will try to find a way to get it to you guys, but let's be honest, there is not really a legal way for me to do it. However, if you guys look on the internet, go on Google Food, you type in Windows 11 LTSC, I'm sure that you will find a reputable source. Now, the same principle kind of applies to Windows 11 LTSC as it does to the consumer version. However, there's an added benefit that out of the box, Windows 11 LTSC already does not require um, the TPM 2.0 processor. So when you're burning it to your USB via Rufus or installing it, or sorry, deploying it via Ventoy, realistically speaking, there's no requirement for you to modify the ISO in any way, shape, or form. So allow me to demonstrate it. So again, we're just gonna grab a USB stick, and this time I'm gonna do it with Ventoy because variety is the spice of life. Okay. Just gonna do Ventoy real quick. Downloads the latest one. And we're going to Ventoy to disk. So the settings for Ventoy to disk are just a little bit slightly more involved. What you got to do is you got to go under options and partition style. You're going to make sure that partition style selected is GPT. And the second thing that you need to do is partition configuration. Make sure that NTFS is selected. That means that whenever you're going to format the USB stick that you're going to be using into NTFS, that just allows a larger file than 4 gigabytes to be copied over it. So as long as the version in package confirms NTFS and GPT, and obviously make sure that the secure boot support is checked. Click on install with the selected USB of course. We'll go through all the warnings, let it install. It's usually pretty quick. It takes less than a minute. That's one of the reasons why I like Ventoy. It's more of a universal approach to how you can load into ISOs. And again, whenever you're loading into ISOs with Ventoy, it's the unedited slash native format for it. So let's go ahead and copy the enterprise ISO over to our Ventoy USB stick. Well, as soon as this is done and we're ready to boot into the other system, we will continue. Okay, so the ISO just finished copying over to the Ventoy USB bootable USB stick. So let's go ahead and remove it and move over to the other system. As you can see, I have wiped the disk drive, or sorry, the SSD. Now we can install. So do notice that I have not modified. So this time the ISO is not going to be modified at all. We are just going to boot from it as is. And again, the system is not compatible. Let's go ahead and boot into this. So something to note is whenever you're going to be using Ventoy with security boot, you are going to see a unsafe boot detected That's because you have to enroll the certificate from the key itself. So how you are going to do it is just, if you follow the steps on the screen, you just browse to the certificate, you load the certificate, and you open it. Okay, so again, you just boot into Ventoy, and then Ventoy is good to go. There is the enterprise version of the Windows 11 system that we have. So let's go ahead and boot into it in normal mode. Something that I have noticed, addendum number 2.0, is that whenever you're doing it this way through Ventoy, it is just generally a little bit slower, and I don't have the exact details of how much. I have timed it, however, uh, that generally speaking, whenever you're installing Windows from a Ventoy USB stick, it takes generally 10-15 minutes longer than when you're doing it from a USB stick that is installed with, or sorry, that is prepared with Ventoy or rufus. My apologies. So let's go ahead and install that. I'm gonna click on next. I do not have a product key. And then the version of Windows that ideally you'd like to select, which is the most compatible with a non-compatible system, is the IoT Enterprise LTSC. So go ahead and click on. Oh, that's fine. I want that. We'll go next. And then last but not least, we're gonna select what disk we want it installed on. There we go. And as soon as the installation is completed, we are going to go back this as well. Stop. And here we are in the second deployment of Windows 11, the one that is the one that is the fully corporate one, or sorry, the fully enterprise one. Go ahead and select the best country in the world. Whoops, no, that's not it. Let's go ahead and definitely select the best country in the world. So we're gonna tell it again that no, we do not have internet, just so that we can avoid all the updates. And HP for 100. That's because with that we did not sorry modify the ISO in any way, shape, or form. It's just taking us to the generalized settings and how we want it to behave. We're just gonna select to note all the optional stuff. And then as soon as it boots in, we're just going to do a final verification of our installation, just to make sure that TPM is still hidden. And that would be it. That would be the video. Wouldn't be taking that long, but whatever. You go. There we go. Right. Windows security for the verification of the first method. security processor. Again, there's no detail. It's not complicated. The see the second method, and again, as we can see, no TPM is present in my system. Therefore, by definition, the computer is not compatible with Windows 11. Yet Windows 11 is working perfectly fine. Again, as long as you guys understand that Microsoft does not want any responsibility for allowing Windows to run. Sorry, yes, for allowing Windows to run on incompatible computers. You guys are good to go. And as long as you understand that this is not something that needs to be distributed for monetary reasons, i.e., only used for personal reasons, you are good to go. And you should not have any issues with just continuing on with Windows 11 um, as a normal operating system. That being said, thank you very much for watching. Your support is immensely appreciated, and if you guys continue to watch and interact with my videos, liking, commenting, subscribing, it is absolutely fantastic. I cannot thank you enough. And please, in the future, consider whitelisting my channel if you're using an ad blocker. It will definitely help me uh, develop the channel, grow the channel, and continue bringing you guys videos like this. So thank you again so very much from the bottom of my heart. I will see you all in the next one.